call this meeting to order. It is 6:30 for the Town of Wakefield Board of Health. Just one thing this evening, we will do public participation. If you are here to speak on something that is on the agenda, we will wait until that item is brought up and then let you speak. In public participation, you will have to identify yourself, your name and your address. You will not speak until the chair recognizes you, and there is a 3-minute limit on what you will be able to speak. Okay, so we'll start with the public participation on Zoom. And because they are not here, all our board members are present. And we'd like to take the time right now to welcome Marcy McCauley. She is our new board member, and she will be serving with us for the next 3 years. Candace Linehan is returning as the co-chair, and Elaine Silver as the chair. Okay, let me see. I think, is it Julie Scott? Is that you? No? I can't see the name.
No, it's Leslie Scott, license.
Leslie, you're the only one that is on the Zoom, and I would imagine that you do.
There's a whole list of
It's a
people.
whole list of
Yeah.
people? Okay, I can see them. You're not on this one, that's why. Okay, Leslie, did you want to speak during the public?
Yes, I do. However, I'm not able to split my topic in half as I have to be 2 places at once. And I only have time to do the public participation portion, but we'll be watching the meeting later.
Okay.
Because I have 2 topics, so I hope you can give me enough time that I can quickly cover both. They are related. Okay, the picture keeps disappearing, so you know. I feel a little bit like Oz on the screen there.
Okay, we can see you, so go ahead, Leslie.
Yeah, you obviously can. Anyways, what I'm here to discuss is actually 2 topics. Maya and the town not posting the restaurant inspection reports on its website. Maya, we love your food. We have been enjoying eating there for years and recently have been eating there and taking takeout food a number of times. We are now actually very alarmed by the lack of compliance and the repeated out of compliance with your food preparation regulations, following them. You know, it will impact your bottom line, and it should, because until things are cleaned up, literally, we will not be eating there. Among the growing population of people at risk is people like me, people who can die of foodborne illnesses because they are life-threatening. They are life-threatening to young children, particularly those under 5, the elderly, cancer patients, and immune-compromised individuals. For 7 months, I've been trying to collaborate with the Board of Health Department on publishing these reports online in the website to protect the public that they are charged to protect. The discussion of the topic was barely minimal. It was just barely touched on the last meeting. I have provided extensive material from the CDC, food safety and environmental safety journal articles, links supporting the benefits of reports being published online versus hiding behind public record requests.
Oh, Maya.
Versus not being published. They're not published online. They are hidden behind public record requests.
You have 1 minute to go, just to let you know.
I'm covering 2 topics.
I only can do 1 at a time for public participation, Leslie.
You know what?
I only can do 1 at a time to make sure that everybody does get equal time.
There have been multiple out of compliance inspections coming from this restaurant. And we recently had a restaurant in town closed because of their being gravely out of compliance. That was Bamboo House. The Massachusetts Department of Health, I spoke with yesterday, and they back up that these should be published online in the town website so it is available to the public. By making it available to the public, we are able to do what we need to take care of ourselves and to protect ourselves and our family. It is also, you are there to protect the public, not the restaurant. And as a matter of fact, I also spoke with Steve Mayo. He fully comprehends what I am talking about. He actually sees posting these reports online as a benefit to the restaurant businesses because those in compliance will ultimately do better than those that are not. I really want to see my concerns taken seriously. I provided so many materials that were never discussed that back up what I am suggesting and proposing. This is a public inspection that taxpayers pay for, which means we should have ready access to the results of those inspections.
Okay, thank you, Leslie.
I'm sorry about what's taken place with Maya. If you clean up your act, I will be back, but please take it to heart and put a face to one of your customers who could be gravely impacted if I became ill from your food. I've already been hospitalized with sepsis once in my life.
Thank you, Leslie. Is there anyone else on Zoom for public participation? I see Erin and I can't read.
It's okay, there's I can see the whole list here, but if anybody wants to participate on Zoom, please unmute now, let us know.
The gentleman in the middle, Richard.
Okay.
So can we speak on topics on the agenda?
Yes.
Okay.
Topics on the agenda in 3 minutes.
Yep. Hi, Richard Greif, 25 Kingmont Street. I wanted to speak on the Green Spa variance, urging you to deny that request. As you know, or you should know, Green Spa was inspected by the Board of Health back in April 2019, along with the state and the police department, was subsequently fined by the state for being an unlicensed place of business. They remain unlicensed to this day. You may remember from the hearing, the lawyer contended that there had been no issues over the past 9 years. That's obviously not true. All you have to do is read different reviews online of them. Their photographs on Google and places like that clearly show massage. Your Body Works regulations that were updated in April clearly state that practitioners may not administer massage unless the individual is properly licensed by the State Board of Registration of Massage Therapy, and the premise at which the massage occurs is similarly licensed by the Commonwealth for the conduct of massage. Therefore, Green Spa is offering massage. It's clear that they do. They remain unlicensed by the state. There's really no reason they should be granted a variance, let alone be allowed to do business in the town of Wakefield. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay. Is anybody else on Zoom here to speak up for public participation?
Yes.
I'm the attorney for Green Spa. I would like to speak obviously in favor of my client's request for variance.
Okay, actually, we have an agenda item for Green Spa's variance. That's actually the next item. So could you wait until the next item?
Well, I guess I'm a little bit confused how it is that we're going out of order. I mean, usually the applicant goes first.
Oh, no, so we're doing public participation first. So anybody who wants to speak at public participation is going first. The agenda item for Green Spa is next, and you're representing. Oh, sorry, it's actually the third item. Green Spa is after the Maya hearing. So if you could wait until the third item of the, because you're the attorney, is that correct?
That's fine. I'm here. Thank you.
Okay.
Is
there anybody else speaking for public participation?
Yes, I am.
Well, could you state your name for us, please?
Janet Prince. I live on Montrose Ave in Wakefield.
Thank you, Jen.
Hi, you're gonna have to give me a break here. I'm new at this. I heard that there's a beaver problem in Wakefield, and I just wanted some information from the Board of Health so that I can understand the properties affected. Has the Board of Health visited the affected properties? what exactly made it a public health emergency? And how's the work started?
Yeah, actually, the Beavers is, the Conservation Commission is here to discuss the
No.
beaver
They're not
management.
here today.
They're not here.
So is that item not
Are
happening?
you
That's
gonna-
correct.
I think we'll probably ask the board to table that because they're not here tonight.
Sure.
Table
Well,
it.
I'm here for that, though. Can I speak on that?
You're here to participate publicly on that?
On that situation?
Okay,
Okay, is she, do you have any answers to her, or just that we're gonna be tabling it until they come?
I mean, if the board wants, I can give an update on
Why
what
don't you
was
give a little
done.
bit of an
if that's-
update, it may help her and may
Sure.
help
Okay.
this young lady.
So just to answer some of the questions that were asked about the beaver situation, there was a beaver situation now I believe 2 months prior. It was affecting two properties by the Saugus Wakefield line where that bridge is. There was some severe flooding from one of the culverts that was being blocked. The actual line where Saugus and Wakefield meet was being disputed as to which area, which municipality would serve that area. Ultimately, a beaver remover was consulted, but no work was done with the beaver because the water was too high and the culvert remained blocked. So the two properties that were affected, Wakefield DPW actually went out and cleared that culvert. And we haven't heard of any other complaints of flooding in that area since that complaint 2 months ago. But we have been reached out to by DPW and Conservation Commission just about the long-term plans for beavers and other issues that arise from flooding because of that. So we don't have any additional information right now. Conservation Commission was going to come tonight, but they couldn't make it. So it will likely be a topic that we'll be discussing at a later meeting.
Can I ask a question?
It's not really a question and answers session. Is this related to one of the things that we were talking about?
Yes, it was one of the questions.
Okay.
What permit has been submitted?
So the Board of Health had issued a 10-day beaver trapping license. This was issued 3 weeks ago. That has since expired. From what we understand, no beaver was caught at that time. We weren't given any additional information. That's all we have right now.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
And if I could just speak 3 minutes, I'll keep it like.
Yeah, and what is your name?
Actually,
My name's,
should we finish the Zoom first? I just want to make sure.
Get one more Zoom?
I don't know how many people
I
are.
don't think
Is
so.
there anyone else on Zoom that wants to speak with public participation? I'm sorry.
it's okay, no.
Hey, Anthony, it's Erin.
It's
Hi,
Erin.
Erin, how's it going?
Hey, I just wanted to say that anyone, it might be easier if people want to email us about the beavers. That might be more appropriate for, if people have questions about how the Board of Health is involved with problem beavers.
Yeah, I think that would be a good idea. If you have questions, you can email them as well. You don't have to just come to the Board of Health meeting. You can.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
Thank you, Erin. That's Erin, our chief inspector here.
Is there anyone else on Zoom that's looking to participate in public participation?
I don't think so, and
I think we might be.
Just deal with the room.
I think we might be
we'll
all
deal with
set.
the room. There's 3 people here. First, I have, I believe that, are you people here, Pat Kroll, are you here to talk about something
Yeah,
on the agenda?
if you wanted to ask your question, go right ahead.
Okay, and are you Jane?
Newhouse.
Newhouse, great.
I was, so I run Newhouse Law.
Jane, can you just say your name and your address, please?
Jane Newhouse, 13 River Meadow Drive, Chelmsford, Massachusetts. I was asked by some people from Wakefield to come here regarding the beaver situation. I was just made aware of this today. I run a wildlife rescue. We specialize in beaver, so I have a unique insights to beaver. Massachusetts actually has a very famous beaver that was on National Geographic. I currently have her in my care, just so you know. She's like social media goddess, with like 11 million views on a video of her building a dam. Just so you can see, this is Nibby. So she's Massachusetts famous beaver, and this is her now. So Nibby was rescued in Southbridge And we tried to reunite her with her family. She was on the side of the road, and we weren't able to reunite, which actually ended up being a good thing because her entire family was killed because of a flooding situation. And we are very lucky here in Massachusetts. We have the Beaver Institute here, which helps people to live with beavers. And the reason why I'm suggesting this is that if this area that you're suggesting to have beavers removed from is a perfect area for beaver, doesn't matter how many you kill, more are going to come. If it's a perfect spot, they're gonna keep coming. So you're gonna keep killing them and they're gonna keep coming. The best thing to keep out beaver are other beaver. Okay, so if you learn how to live with your beaver family, they're not gonna let any other beavers in that area. They're very, very protective. And when they mate and they have babies, they have families, if you start killing those beavers now, they are giving birth right now. I have a pregnant beaver right now that's about to give birth. So they're giving birth right now. So any beaver taken, they don't remove beavers, they kill beavers. You can't relocate a beaver. So you'd be given the okay to have the entire family decimated. And this is a really awful time because there'd be babies starving inside lodges. The Beaver Institute has options of beaver deceivers that can actually drain the dam without the beavers being aware of it. They go through lots of different options of how to live with them. And I think not only is it better for people who don't want to see these animals killed, but monetarily it makes more sense and it can handle this problem for you permanently as opposed to continuously hiring trappers to kill families.
Thank you.
Thank you
Very
for sharing that.
interesting. Is there any way you would be able to possibly send to the health department a link to your wildlife rescue and maybe
Absolutely.
that institute?
Absolutely, yeah.
So that we could have it available for any
Sure.
that would, it's very interesting.
Absolutely, yeah, happy to speak to
I
you
feel
guys.
like you must know my friend Ben Goldfarb. He is like, he's a beaver king.
Oh, yeah, no, I do,
Northeast.
there's a lot of people really,
Speaking
really
of
into that. They're a keystone species in Massachusetts, which is why Mass Wildlife requests that, you have to give them so much information before you actually be allowed to kill them, and usually right now is not the time they even allow it.
How
I
long-
understand you.
How long is it that it's usually a birthing period? You have like a month? like
So,
that?
from April to the end of May typically, but they stay with mom and dad for 2 years, which is why I still have this beaver that I told you about. And then at the age of 2, they go off into different territories. Mom and dad kick them out. So that's why you won't have any increase in the number of babies. But last year's siblings helped raise this year's babies. They're very, very family oriented, very emotional animals. Most emotional animal we take care of at the rescue are beavers. Like Nippy's a drama queen. It's like a whole thing. But anyway, they're incredible, incredible creatures, and they create wetlands that are very important for a lot of semi-aquatic species, especially a lot of our waterfowl, some of them on the endangered, not the endangered species, but like species of concern. So they're important to the environment. If we can figure out a way to live with them and also prevent the flooding, that's what I would ask the board to consider moving forward, please.
Thank you.
I'm gonna go feed some more animals then.
Thank you
guys.
very much. There's 2 of the names here. Is anybody else here for the beavers? No. There's 2 other names, Pat Kroll on Butler Ave, and are you here to speak on?
A concern I have as an abutter to a home being constructed where asbestos was found in the existing condemned home that was
Do
there.
you want to do some public, you just want to do a public comment about that?
Yeah.
Okay with you, Anthony?
Yeah.
Okay, go ahead.
Okay,
Your name and your address.
Patricia Kroll, 50 Butler Ave, here in Wakefield, all my life, 71 years. I am a butter to Biggs Court, to this piece of land that somebody has just bought. And there was an old rundown condemned home on the land, so we all thought, that's great. You know, that'll get rid of that eyesore and danger. But we also, all of the neighbors were well aware there was asbestos in that boarded up home, and that's why a lot of people had taken a pass on buying the land. But I talked to Dan Thompson on multiple occasions, and he was terrific, and he promised us all that they had to go through a whole permitting process and remediation, yada, yada, yada. And I even went down the day before they tore it down without doing those things, and said to him, this bulldozer's there And they had half of it torn down by the time the neighbors called Dan and he came down and stopped. So DEP was involved and they went through a whole remediation process, treated the material, and they're out of the picture now. And now they're starting to prep the foundation area for it. I still have two big concerns. Asbestos, to me, I take particularly personally. My father died from mesothelioma, and I know asbestos is insidious. And I'm just concerned about what was the exposure of the neighbors. Half of that home in a cloud of dust was taken down before Dan got there. And secondly, what about the ongoing situation? The asbestos filters into the soil as they're digging up the earth now and doing the construction. What is the exposure? DEP had air monitors there while they were remediating, but according to that gentleman, their job is done. They're overseeing of that process and they'll take their monitors out. Can we not have monitors in place? I haven't even opened my windows since then. I'm just concerned. They're simple little black box type things, and Dan was familiar with them. And I just would love to know that they're not stirring up anything. And I've done some research on it, and the asbestos can settle into the soil and then be re-released again. So I'm just asking you guys to look into it.
Anthony, has DEP notified you about anything, any results?
They've given me all the information they can. They said, until the case is closed, they can't give me anything else and told me to turn to you.
Yeah, like you said, Dan's been pretty in touch with DEP. We're sort of tied by somewhat similar rules. We receive information from DEP as much as they can provide us right now. We've been in touch a couple of times here and there, but I know there's still work ongoing. If there continues to be concerns about asbestos settling into the soil, creating issues for the rest of the area, I think that might, again, I'm not familiar with DEP, that might constitute another investigation of just that specific area of the post work. So right now, I don't have a great answer. I think we're, with the information that we have, we don't have any.
It's so frustrating to us in the
know,
neighborhood. We just, we want to know, like, should we be letting the kids out in the yard? The more I read about asbestos, the scarier it is to me. And I would think that the new homeowner would want to know as well. And the workers there would want to know as well. I've gone over my 3 minutes, apologies.
That's okay, that's okay.
Sorry, I even wrote it out because I knew there was a 3-minute thing. But, so can you guys find out something? We can't get any more information from anybody.
You have to wait right now for DEP to turn in if there's any more.
Yeah,
Is there any building permits? Do you know if anything has been?
I know
issued
there's
yet,
been
Lynn?
ones applied for. I don't think they've been issued yet, but I can check on that after the meeting. Yeah, we'll ask DEP again for more updated information as soon as we can.
And my heart's breaking for that homeowner. They put a stop to everything. And if they didn't know what they had to do, then they were as blindsided as we were by it. But it's a health issue. And I have grandkids that play there.
Thank you very much, Pat.
Thank you.
Let's see, is there Heidi Faux?
Yeah.
Am I correct on Converse Street?
Yes.
Go ahead, Heidi.
So I have to admit, I've never been to one of these before and I wasn't sure, but I just, and so I'm not. So my issue is rats. So I've lived in this house for 30 years and I've never seen a rat until recently. And I understand that according to like the pest control people, that it's probably due to the construction that's down near the Boundary Street, yeah. So I guess I was just thought I needed to raise the issue. to see, you know, is the town, how they're addressing this, I guess, so.
Am I not correct? We still follow the rule in all construction sites must have a baited area. I mean, they bait for rats and anything like that. The traps are there. Has there been any other complaints? Have you heard anything in the office?
No.
It's on Converse Street, am I correct?
But I got your,
Like right towards, like at the end near Gould.
Converse and Gould.
Yeah.
I got your message today.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
As far as we know, right now, we haven't received any other complaints about that specific construction project, but we can go and do an investigation, find out if they're fulfilling their road and abatement plan.
It should be there.
Yeah.
So we can check on that this week.
They'll check on that for you and you can
Thank you.
give a check and just watch when you see them and maybe take a couple of pictures. So that way, when the inspectors do come down, it does help them. When they can see where they were and where they were going, they might be able to figure it out. You know, sometimes it is from trash, as many of you know, back in, after COVID, we had a lot of rat issues in many, many cities and towns, and that was because of disruption of their food sources. We closed down everything, so they had no food, so they moved out. They went into people's backyards, and a lot of it is the trash. Make sure you have your trash lids on. In Wakefield, we do have those nice coverage, but some
Yeah.
cities and towns unfortunately don't. And some people don't tend to pick up after themselves on the streets. But thank you for bringing that. They'll have one of these inspectors go down. And I believe that's it. There's no other participation. That's the three names that are here. Would it okay? So
Is it okay if we
will-
leave?
Yeah, thank you very much.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
We will close public participation. 6:57. We'll have an approval of the minutes of the meeting from April 27th. Any comments?
No comments.
Make a motion to approve. Have to second it. All in favor?
Living on that.
Silver eye. Our new board member doesn't vote on those yet. Next month is their turn. Minutes are approved, and I believe we will start with the hearing, Maya,
Yes.
Maya's Restaurant. If you want to bring us up to date on that,
Sure,
Anthony?
yeah, so.
And I think Erin is still on,
uh,
or Dan, I think it's
I
Erin,
think
right?
Aaron's.
here.
Oh, Dan's here
Oh,
too?
okay.
I'm here too. Yeah.
Okay, I can't see you, Dan, I can only see Erin.
We've got everybody here. so.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, so just to catch the board up on the situation, so on May 8th, Dan went with one of our health inspector trainees to do a routine inspection at Maya Indian Grill. They found conditions that were concerning. There were five priority violations. And Dan, you can fill in here as we go. Several issues were out of compliance, several issues that we've seen repeated in the past. So we were at a point where we wanted to make sure that we worked with the owners to get the establishment back up to code. And we had a lengthy discussion about that, and the owners have had a previous inspection on September 12th of 2023, similar report. And after that meeting, after that inspection, the owners had voluntarily, after we recommended, they voluntarily brought in a food safety consultant to work with them. So we would hope to see more progress moving forward. But Dan, would you like to fill in on anything you've seen?
Yeah, sure. So I've been inspecting Maya since about August 2022. And since I've conducted inspections there, it's been pretty consistently poor inspection reports from them with a lot of repeated violations, both priority foundation and priority violations. So back in September of 2023, again, it was another poor inspection, and discussed with Conan, I felt as though that they should bring in a food consultant, which they did. And since then, I went back after the food consultant helped them out, and things were okay. And then fast forward to the most recent inspection, which was last week, and we were back at that that same level of poor inspection. So it's just kind of consistently been an education issue mostly. I know that Conan is very knowledgeable of his operations. However, pretty much every time I've gone and inspected, he's never actually been in the restaurant when I've showed up. He's always had to be called over to the restaurant. So there was just kind of a lack of managerial control, which I think is a big issue and a big reason why that Maya has consistently had poor inspections. So that being said, Conan hired another food consultant, I think yesterday, and we were by this morning to do a re-inspection, and the kitchen was deep cleaned. Voluntary HACCP logs for cooling and for temperature control are provided in the restaurant, and things are looking a lot better, basically. So I'm hopeful that things are going to be or going to stay in this direction. And yeah, that's pretty much it.
Thank you, Dan. So I think you know we've had a lengthy discussion. Maya, the owners of Maya were compliant, and they voluntarily closed since last Wednesday to make sure that they've had time to get everything back in order. We appreciate their effort in doing this. We will say that hopefully this will start trending in the right direction. I want to recognize that we also have Rajiv Gupta here, who is the food safety consultant for Maya on the Zoom tonight. So yeah, I can see that they're sincere in wanting to move forward and do better in their inspections. So I'll give them a chance to speak if you guys would like.
Yeah, my name is Kanan. I'm owner of the Maya Indian Grill, 33 Dudley Street in Wakefield. I've been in the industry for like almost like 20 years, 23 years, more than that. And since after the COVID, so a lot of things have been happening, like hard to find the responsible people, you know, like, and I'm also getting, you know, like some family situations going on, so that's why I couldn't be on there like all the times. But now it's all things are getting better, and then all the things are lined up, and then we also hired a extra manager. Financially, we couldn't able to support for the past 2-3 years, so we couldn't have extra persons to you know, check on things. But now we have extra persons just to control, just to for the sanitation manager, just to keep as a food service certified managers. And then we also like put every person in the kitchen to learn, and we also training them consistently. Because a lot of the things have happened in the past and then consequently, because I feel bad about it, because quick changes of employees, you know, like that is the worst problem we have been finding all these years, you know. So it's better to have a consistent manager in place all the time. So even if the employees are changing all the time, so at least a manager who's knowledgeable, so he always participate in there, and he can just make sure all the complaints are taken care and then follow up every day, you know, like, so that's what we came to, that's what we're putting in the progress, and then it's already set in progress now. And we posted more information materials, and then some people with language barriers, we still putting in our personal languages like Indian languages, you know, like, because they still couldn't able to understand things, even we teach them a lot, you know. It will be getting better, and then it always gets better. I promise that we'll be running it in proper code, food code compliances, you know, like that.
And how long have they been closed? They volunteered for a week now?
So they closed on Wednesday, they reopened today,
There we go. Okay.
after a pre-opening inspection.
What's our plan for follow-up?
So we plan on following up. Dan, I don't know if, or Dan or Aaron, I don't know if you guys plan on going back maybe this week or next week, just to follow up on that. Okay, so we probably plan on following up within this week or next week. I would say early next week, likely.
Yeah, I can follow up.
Yep, okay.
Next week.
Yeah, and they'll be working with Rajit also.
So working with the food safety consultant, they'll also be sending us reports from the food safety consultant.
Yes, sorry, I forgot to mention that.
Right.
So we hired.
How long is Rajit part of the
Yeah.
process?
Yes, yes, so Rajit is, because yesterday, because it was a short time, so we found Rajit at the last minute, like 2 days before. And then, so he's very knowledgeable as well, and then he has been helping us, and then he trained the 2 of our employees, and then yesterday, and then they got them certified. And we have 3 more employees on the kitchen, they also on the line to get certified soon. They are also the week or 2, they'll be getting certified as well. So it's pretty much like a lot of person in charge will be on the restaurant, even if I'm my absence, because that's what happens, because I'm the only owner, so I have to deliver food, or I have to, because most of the time it's a coincidence, I'm always not there. So instead of to make that not happen again, so now we have like 4 or 5 managers in the restaurant. So so anybody comes, so at least knowledgeable persons are always there in the restaurant, you know, like, yeah. So
Are
yeah.
you open 7 days a week?
We are 6 days a week, 6 days a week, yeah. Mondays the day we usually do cleanings and yeah.
So with this 4 or 5 managers that you have now, there will be a manager on at all times while the restaurant is open, am I not correct?
Yes, yeah, yes. The food service managers, yes, service managers, yes.
Dan, Aaron, do you guys remember how long we asked the food safety consultant to stay on?
I don't think we set a time limit, but we were thinking, yeah, usually 3 to 6 months.
Yeah.
We just really want to see like a consistent, habit changes there. So it'll depend on the next inspection.
So generally speaking, for a first time, we would ask maybe 2 to 3 months, because as a second food safety consultant, we're gonna ask you guys to take on Rajit for 6 months, or whoever is gonna ask me to keep 6 months. We'll continue to come in for periodic inspections during that time, but just to make sure that everything stays on track.
Does anybody on the board here have any questions or concerns?
Prior to this, Dan, I see you include some other older reports. But it seems like it's been a little bit, like September, there was something, and then now. And then January of 23, August of 22, and 2017.
Correct, yes. Ideally, I would have been there, 3 times each year. But obviously other things come up, and, I'm not always able to meet the quota for inspecting as much as they should be inspected.
No, I guess my point was that, like, I don't see a lot of issues prior to these 2. I feel like we've had other conversations with businesses where there have been many more. So I see that stuff comes up, but it does seem like, even though the things that we're finding today are similar to what's in September, prior to that, things were okay.
It's hard to say, but generally the violations that they've had have been all priority violations, relating to sanitation of equipment and utensils, food separation, especially with raw versus ready to eat foods, constant cleaning issues throughout the kitchen, the dishwasher not working properly, improper cooling methods. All of these things, they're all priority violations, and they add up, especially when you consistently see them on each inspection report after, going through everything with the person in charge. So that's why it's being taken seriously, because they are priority violations, and it's just been a consistent repeat of them.
Thank you, Dan.
Questions?
No, I'm just trying to get my feet wet and understanding everything that's going on. One thing that did come to mind is there a warning system or something? Is that essentially what a report does? It gives you that warning, and what are the guidelines for that, I guess?
Yeah, so we follow the FDA food code. This report basically follows that closely, right? So it has all the priority violations, and then we also have secondary ones are priority foundation violations. So basically these reports are generated after each inspection. So we generate this regardless if it's 0 violations or if it's 5 violations, so we generate the same. These reports are then given to the person in charge afterwards, and we show them here are the areas that we fixed. there are some establishments that may have one or two things that they may already correct on site. So we may not go back for the re-inspection after because they've already corrected some of those things or some of the things are very minor. For a report like this, if we have issues that we see, we will give them a report and say, we will be back in a short period of time, that might be within the week, depending on severity. And then we will go and re-inspect and then see if the issues were corrected. What you're probably hearing tonight, as a couple times mentioned, is the repeated violations. And so that's generally violations that we see from the previous inspection report that happen again at the next re-inspection. So those are generally things that we don't want to see. Obviously, we don't want to see new ones either, but just repeat ones means that we haven't quite gotten through the point with them, so.
So with the repeated violations, is there any point when you would say, you know, we're giving you a warning and the next instance would close your, you know,
Right.
10 days or
It's,
how does that work?
no, it's a good question. I think it's not a hard and fast when we decide to close and when we decide to get a food safety consultant. Generally speaking, our inspectors have used some discretion in that sense. If there's a genuine interest in correcting the issue and there just happens to be one thing out of place, then we'll just say, try to get this back. But if it's multiple repeat, I'm talking like 2, 3, or 4 repeat violations, then we'd be more concerned and say, is there a practice issue, right? Is there a training issue? That's usually rooted in something deeper than just someone forgetting to make up like a sanitizer bucket or something, right? It's something a little deeper than that. So there's some discretion used in this, but generally speaking, if we see multiple repeat violations, we do get more concerned. We usually lean towards them getting a food safety consultant rather than close immediately. There have been, not in this situation, but there have been situations in the past where we have gone into an establishment, it has been that poor where we would skip that one step in between and go, you're just gonna have to close, you're gonna have to get cleaned up before you can consider getting reopened. So to answer your question, it's not a hard and fast, but just based on the experience of our inspectors, they'll make a judgment call.
I spent quite a bit of time in food and beverage management myself, and I can tell you that going back to, decades, there's always labor shortages in food and beverage, and there's always turnover. And given COVID and what has happened with extreme labor shortages, and then you also added the language barrier, I think they've had some special challenges, and it sounds like you're very committed to doing what is required to get, back into the rating that you'd like to see. So I think that what you're doing is correct, in my opinion, and I'd be interested in the next inspection, to see the improvements.
Absolutely, yeah. The 2 things I'll say is, obviously this is very serious, right? We're at a point where we're at a second food safety consultant. But to get back to your point, it's true, the owner has demonstrated a commitment to this. They came and met with me after closing, making sure that they met all the requirements. I think they are serious about this, and I'm optimistic.
So what did you want from the board? Do you want approval or a motion? to
No,
make
this
sure of the opening and-
this was more of
an
an
educational
more of an
thing, so we would
educational
know.
opportunity, yeah. So we've already lifted the closing, so they reopened as of today.
Yes.
And we will be checking in either later this week or early next week.
So by the time we get our next meeting in June, there possibly will be, Dan, after you say in a week, you'll go back, and how soon after that, even if it's good? Another 3 weeks?
Sure, yeah, so it depends on what the quality of the inspection is. If they're consistently very good inspections, then the frequency of me returning will go down. But if there are still issues, then I will be re-inspecting more frequently.
So by our next meeting, we'd be able to view possibly 2 to 3 inspections, am I correct?
It's very possible, yeah.
Thank you. Anything else? Do you have any questions or concerns?
No.
Thank you.
Thank you for coming.
Well,
Good luck.
Yeah, good luck.
Okay, I believe it's the Green Spa variance request. Anthony, if you'd like to fill us in on this? Because we did have a meeting back in, am I correct?
That's correct.
It's April? Was it April?
Before that.
March?
I think it was March.
Thank you very much and good luck.
Thank you. I believe it was in March.
In March, we had one. Well, actually, I believe it was the one back in February on the 21st of the Body Works, at which time we heard from them. And was it not the decision of the board not to issue them a license at
That's
that
correct.
time, right? And if you'll explain why they're here this evening for a
Yeah,
variance?
so before I turn to the attorney for Green Spa, potentially owners. But before we do, just to give some background on the case, back in February, we had not received a application for renewal for Green Spa, which was performing bodywork services. The permits expire December 30th of each year. So they had been late for over a month. Our inspectors went, did an inspection, found that they were open, and so they issued them the cease and desist to close operations. At that point, based on issues that we found there, obviously operating without a permit was one of them, but also posting of sexually explicit advertisements online and other behavior deemed unacceptable for businesses. We had brought this to the board, and after reviewing the evidence, the board had voted to not issue a new permit to this establishment. And since then, there has been a request from the attorney for the owners of Green Spa. You will have this in your packet. It says, please be advised, this office represents Green Spa. The request is hereby made pursuant to Article 17.1 of the Wakefield Board of Health Rules and Regulations of Bodywork for a variance as to Article 7.1L of said rules and regulations to allow the late filing by my client of its renewal application for its permit, as the enforcement thereof would result in a manifest injustice to my clients from Attorney Milgram. So we received this variance request, which appears to be asking for a variance to allow the late filing of a renewal application. The attorney that's here tonight for Green Spa, would you like to give any more context?
And could we just get
Good evening. For the record, my name is Attorney Jack P. Milgram, and I represent the applicant Green Spa.
who's in the
As you
background?
heard,
Excuse me, Mr.
sorry.
Milgram, can you please introduce who the people are in the background there with you?
people are in the background is the applicant, is the license holder. That's who's in the
Yeah, would you
background.
please
My
state their
client.
name? Could you please state their names, sir, of all three, so that we know who they are and what their role is there?
They're addressed.
SHUYINGDU. He's the license holder. That's who's here with me this evening.
And who are the other two people that are present in your office also during this hearing?
Those are friends of her who are here for support. They have nothing to do with the Green Spa.
We have their names, please, sir, that we know.
What's her name?
Records, so that we know that there were other people present.
Her name is Ming, M-I-N-G.
That's all, just a first name, Ming. And the
Yeah.
others, the other person, please.
The other person, his first name is Derek, D-E-R-E-K.
And they are just acquaintances of the license holder? Am I
That's correct. They're here for support.
Just
They have
support
nothing
them.
to do with the Green Spot directly.
And they will be not translating or anything?
No,
Thank you very much. Go ahead.
thank you. So, as the board is aware, we were here in February and a meeting and a hearing was held at that time. And then at the request of my client, no action was taken and the hearing was continued. In the interim, as you've been told by Anthony, we have filed a request for a variance. Now, it's my understanding under the rules that Anthony is first supposed to make a decision whether or not to grant a variance, and then after that, it goes to the board, but apparently he never made a decision one way or the other and just scheduled the hearing. In any event, as the board is aware, my client has operated in your municipality, I believe, for 9 years. And during the 9 years that she's operated there, to the best of my knowledge, based upon what she tells me, the documentary evidence given to me, and what I heard at the prior hearing, prior to the renewal for this year, she was never late, not even one time, in regards to applying for a renewal of the permit. And as I've indicated previously, somebody who's been in town for 9 years and have never had a problem like this before, to not to give them a renewal or not to grant a variance, that to me seems arbitrary and capricious. Now, one of the things that we discussed in February was that perhaps the board was going to speak to the council for the municipality and get an opinion from him or her. Whether or not anybody has done that, I don't know the answer to that. I certainly haven't heard from anyone. As the board is aware, if my client's requests are denied, then we're gonna file an appeal in the Superior Court on the 30A. And as people may or may not know, the basis for that is whether or not the decision is arbitrary and capricious. 9 years, never had a problem. And to say, we're gonna put this person out of business because for whatever the reason was, this one particular year that they were late, I don't think a Superior Court judge is gonna be very happy about that. Now, of course, there was something else that was discussed last time, the issue of the website and alleged sexually suggestive advertising. Well, you know, I don't know whether or not, again, anybody who's spoken to town council, mere words on a website doesn't establish anything. If somebody could demonstrate that there was a police report from your municipality showing that there was an investigation that suggested that there was sex occurring at the facility, that would be different. If somebody could show that there was a report from the Board of Registration of Massage Therapy, that one of their investigators went there and made a determination that there was sexual activity going on, that might be different. If there was an investigation from the Board of Health, if there was a Board of Health inspection indicating that there was sexual activity going on in this facility, that would be different. I haven't seen any police report. I haven't seen any report from the Board of Registration of Massage Therapy. I haven't seen any report from the Board of Health. There's no evidence that anybody is living in this facility, which is something that is strongly considered when alleged sexual activity is occurring. No one is saying that anybody is living in this facility. There's been no evidence of condoms or anything else, Vaseline or anything else to indicate that there's any sexual activity going on. Just the mere words on a website, that's not enough. Whether or not, again, anybody spoke to the town council, I don't know. In a Superior Court, a judge on a 30A, judge is gonna say that's gonna be sent back. I feel very strongly about that. As I've indicated before, over the years, I've represented many facilities. I'm very familiar with this. In fact, I've sued in the past the Board of Registration of Massage Therapy. I've represented people involved in massage for years. What's happening? I'm not that familiar with your municipality, so I can't say with certainty what's going on here. But to put this person out of business because they were late one time in 9 years and without any evidence of anything else, that I got a problem with that. Now, there was one person that spoke in opposition, and he talked about something that occurred in 2019. My understanding what happened in 2019 is that a police detective went to the facility, nothing to do with sex, no suggestion of anything at all to do with sex, but that there was some advertising that had occurred at one point, and from what I understand, the advertising used the word massage, and obviously that was improper. if only body work was being done at that time. There was only a license for body work. My client, I understand, was assessed a fine of $500 and she paid it, and that was it. If that's so, I am a little disappointed because when I first got involved with this, I sent a request to Anthony asking for any and all records pertaining to this facility since the facility opened. And if there's a report from 2019, I didn't get it. And that's really not fair to me because I'm entitled to anything related to this facility. So I'm asking that the variance that my client requests be allowed. That's what I'm asking. It would not be unusual to do this. I understand this is the Board of Health. This isn't zoning, for example. I've done a lot, in addition to representing facilities that do massage, I've done a lot of zoning over the years. Sometimes people own real property and they, whether it's knowing or not, they find themselves in violation of the zoning code. They've done something that violates the zoning code. And it's not strange or unusual for somebody after the fact to request a variance to resolve the problem. And that's the same thing. It's the same concept. There's nothing wrong with that. That's what my client is asking to do here. She's been there 9 years, never really had a problem, just this one time. She's entitled to the variance that she's asking to do. She's asking to be granted the variance. In regards to the website, there isn't anything there. There are no reports from anybody indicating any sexual activity there. Thank you.
Anthony, if you could help me recall, if I recall correctly, when we had that hearing, how long was she late in filing for the new license? Do you remember?
Well, at that time, she had been just over a month late.
Over a month, and she was still practicing. She didn't have the business closed down. She never inquired about anything. And she did receive emails, am I not correct?
That's correct.
In regards, and we proved that she did receive the information.
That's correct.
So she was in violation of owning and of operating her salon, am I not correct?
That's
Okay,
correct.
so to speak, okay. So at that time, we said we would not grant her a license because she had operated without a license, am I not correct, after being notified? Okay?
Right, so the board had decided to table that decision based on the information that we would have to find after if she had actually received those communications,
Right.
which we did prove.
So I don't think we made a hard decision, right? We like,
You may not have made a decision to.
we agreed to
we had tabled
postpone
this
to get more
Postpone until we
information.
get the information, and you did get information and proof that she was notified that her license was up and she had to be renewed, and
That's
she
correct.
had more than one notice, am I not correct?
There were a total of 3 notices and then 1 in New Year's. So
And those
3
came
is-
from us and
so
they came from
three-
another,
So
like a,
three of them came, 4 of
the
them came
licensing
from us,
body.
and then several of them came from the OpenGov, which is the permitting system that
Yeah.
does automatic reminders, so.
Can
And just to correct the record, this is not the first time they've been late, there's been several years where they've been late.
In the past.
Do you know how many?
I don't know, we
Last-
talked about that
last
though
time they
in
printed it out,
February,
I think
yeah.
there were two separate other years where they were late in
Okay.
filing.
And can you share any information about the 2019?
I'm not
I'm
sure.
looking right now because I have the minutes up from the website.
Yeah.
It wasn't on the agenda, I believe it was under the health director's report. I can't see because
Oh, that's
it's so
okay.
small, like,
Okay.
what does it say there at the end?
I do not recall.
So it looks like.
The 2019.
So it looks like in
Yeah.
2019, at the meeting of April 23rd, April 23rd, 2019, there was under the health director's report, a report that they're offering, Green Spa at 446 Main Street was offering body work only, but had not completed their application. The premises was viewed by the health director at the time, Ruth Clay, the Wakefield Police Department, and a state inspector. That's the information we have right now.
Okay.
That's
Okay.
So that may have been the fine issued by the state inspector at the time, but
Would
it
have
would have
been
been by
state,
us.
right?
Yes,
Wasn't by-
that's correct.
Okay.
And is your client aware of the new bodywork regulations? Sir?
Body work regulations that were issued when?
So we had a public hearing of new bodywork regulation changes at the last meeting in April. There's a public hearing for changing of Wakefield bodywork regulations in April, at the last April meeting, which would have been
It was April 17th.
April 17th.
My client received notice of those hearings?
That, it was posted publicly, yes.
I don't know whether or not she's aware, but obviously if she's gonna continue operating in your town, she's gonna be aware and she's gonna comply with them.
Okay.
Have they notified you just about having this variance? Am I not correct?
This is the communication that we got. We have not received a full application yet.
No full application, just that they want a variance without an application being applied, right?
That is correct, yes.
And then when, in February, did they submit an application
They have
at that
not
time?
submitted.
So since this whole process, an application has not been submitted at all?
That is correct.
Just a request for a variance. And ask you, Anthony, the term variance, how does it apply in this situation?
So it looks like they're looking for a variance to apply late to a late filing for their renewal of their application. A variance would mean that there would be a change to one of our current standards. So if they're asking for, I'm gonna use a different example from this, but if there's a chicken coop requirement, there's a 50 feet distance from every property line, they're looking to ask for a variance that allows them to be 10 feet from a property line, that would constitute a variance. I'm not entirely clear as to the variance that's being asked here because the variance is being asked for filing, a late filing, but that would not be consistent each year. They're not looking to late file each year. It sounds more like they're asking for an exception, but this is for the board to decide. It sounds like they're asking for an exception to file late. But since the expiration of their last permit in December 30th of 2023, we still have yet to receive a full application.
Is there a reason why there hasn't been a full application filed, sir?
I'm sorry?
Is there a reason why a full completed application hasn't been filed to the health department by your client?
Because the application was filed, that's why it was refused in February in response to the application.
Is that complete at that time?
Yeah, she filed in, I think it was February 6th.
February 6th, yeah.
So she was late then?
Yeah, so she was
Yeah,
late
she-
then, and the board was deciding whether or not to grant a permit after being late several times, and also because of the other issue of the suggestive ads.
Have you seen the website?
Well, we did when the board was deciding.
They included it in our package.
Yeah, they were included in the packet. We haven't looked at it since.
Not only did it mention.
The application was filed in January 2024. That's what generated your notice of February 9th. Of course she applied.
She did.
Okay, we just want to make double sure, sir.
Okay.
So she has applied. And where would she be, would her business, if she does apply and her application is accepted, where will she have her business? Will be at the same location, am I correct?
But now the same location.
Which is
She has not lost the location as of today.
Pardon me, sir, I'm sorry, I couldn't hear you. Could you say that again, sir?
I said as of today, she's not lost the location. She's still the tenant there.
And would her application
No.
would not fall under the new body works, right? We would need more information, am I not correct?
Everything.
I knew everything, right?
It would be.
Comment, concerns?
I appreciate the extra information that was provided by Attorney Ingram and the extra work done on the health department's part. But I feel like, I'm not inclined to, I suppose, approve a variance this time, or to consider accepting a new application at this point. To me, it doesn't feel like they have been or intend to be operating in good faith.
Marcy, I know you're.
Well, I was just
everything.
thinking, Attorney Milburn said that he felt certain if he filed an appeal, that they would prevail. So perhaps that's the way to go, let it live in light, he files and see the outcome.
So just more point of order for the board. So before the board decides on the variance, the board would want to finalize the vote for whether or not they would accept the application, or they would, if they would allow for the application from the last hearing. So I would ask the board to probably make a decision on that first and then consider the variance.
Whether we're willing to accept the initial application.
Yes, that's correct.
Late, it was late.
Yes,
Am I not
correct. Yes. So the decision last time was tabled because of the evidence that we needed to collect, and we've since collected that.
And you did collect that she had been notified at the same time. So even though she was notified, she still was late in filing it and still operated.
I would be inclined not to accept that.
Well, if I understand correctly, you said that the variance is to allow for the late filing. So if you accept the application, are you accepting the variance?
Yes,
The late
if the board accepts the application hearing, then that would also be granting a variance in this sense, yes.
But we did table it because the claim, I believe back then, was that she never received anything, adequate notice from us in regards to renewing her application. And we did prove that she did get the notifications.
We worked with our information technology department to bring up the communications, and they were able to show they received.
They were received and read, am I not
That's
correct?
Correct.
So she was aware of the notices to renew, but she failed to turn in the application and still operated the business for another 30 days until she was called upon.
And there was a discussion to have town council Mullen weigh in, if I recall.
I think there was a question of whether or not the terminology of variance was used correctly, because they had requested a variance at the last meeting as well, or the last hearing as well. But we were considering the application in full, and I don't believe that the variance was appropriate at that time.
So what we're deciding on is whether or not we would accept that application for being late.
And the advertisements online as part of the reason why.
For this.
I don't have as much history, obviously, as you do on it. And I think for that reason, I would need to be more versed to make a decision, so.
I also, at this time, don't favorable of taking that application late after we proved that it was given sufficient time. So, we'll have to make a motion. You want to make a motion?
I would make a motion not to accept the application of Green Spa when it was presented, which was late.
So be me that will second it, because Rusty wasn't here. All in favor?
Linehan, aye.
Silver eye. So forward, we will not accept that late application. If she does wish to apply, she will apply under the new Body Works with the full.
Right, and I would now also discuss the variance as well.
And the
as before
variance,
tonight.
okay. To you, how do you feel about this variance?
I would not be inclined to vote in favor of the variance, sorry.
I would say the same, given that you're not accepting the application, you can't accept the variance.
Okay, can we have a motion not to accept the variance, to deny the variance?
Make a motion to deny the variance to the current regulations for body work.
Second that. All in favor?
Linnea, aye.
Holly, aye. And Silver, aye. So moved. We will not accept the variance at this time. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Move on the agenda to the health director's report.
Yes, so as part of the report, I'm happy to welcome back Melissa and Sandy from their long vacations. It felt long without you guys. No, it was, things are moving along well. I just want to make a mention that Catherine Bainbrook will be leaving us after 10 years of service for the town of Wakefield. We appreciate all the work that she's done with Wake Up and with our schools and working with our community. She'll be moving on to a position in the city of Medford, so we wish her the best moving forward. My health inspector's report is pretty short. We've been inspections. We've made sure that we're training all of our new health inspector trainees. They have hit the ground running. We have a great group learning right now. So we have a health inspector training program that there's not really a great program throughout the state currently as it stands to train new inspectors. So Aaron, our senior inspector, and Dan, our health inspector here in Wakefield, have been working together to train new inspectors. And once they are trained, they're either going to fill a vacancy here in our towns, or they're going to move on to another town. Will it be qualified to become a health inspector, and generally just bolster numbers of inspectors in the state, which will be very helpful. That's really all I have right now. We've had a pretty quiet couple months.
Oh, really?
Even for you, I don't think it's in.
I don't think so.
If we'll move on to the, do you want to read your report, Sandy, for the public health?
Oh, not really, but I will.
We don't get to see you too often, so I think it would be nice
Well,
if you would.
you have a new member and I
Yeah.
was anxious to come and say hello and welcome you and
Thank you.
let you know you'd be welcome to come and visit anytime in my office.
Thank you.
Okay, without further ado, I forgot my glasses, so it's my sunglasses.
Very Hollywood stuff.
Yes. Okay, so over the past month, we've continued to monitor for and following of communicable diseases that are sent to us through MAVEN, the Department of Public Health Service. Recreational day camps are now up and starting to provide their applications to us. I did provide a training to all of our camps that will be applying for a permit, specifically in regards to the updated state regulations that have just were promulgated in March. Also with what the town's expectations are. We talked about voucher systems that they require, and we talked about the permitting process that was going to occur this year. We've got 4 camps this year instead of 3. The Boys and Girls Club, they have an additional camp, and they're applying separately because this camp has a sports aspect, an archery component to it, so that gets reviewed a bit differently. I also attended the MAPHN, the Massachusetts Public Health Nurse Conference this year. It was absolutely wonderful. The best yet. I've only been to 2, but this was the best. And I was chastised because Anthony was our speaker last year.
That's correct. He made an excellent speech last year at our conference. I'm
Yes.
sorry we couldn't take you again this year at the conference, but.
I'm sure it wasn't a coincidence.
You never know next year. You know who's on the conference committee.
That's right. So that was great. I was able to get some good ideas from the conference. Looking forward to maybe trying to work some of those things in with the health department as far as training and stuff. Meetings with volunteer nurse at the senior center. I meet with the nurse that volunteers to take the blood pressures weekly. We talk about current issues that are occurring so that she might pass those along or do some education with the people that come in. for their blood pressures. A lot of educational material was about alcoholism in the elderly, drug abuse in the elderly, protection, mosquito bite protection, ticks and stuff like that. Attended the DPH local public health monthly webinar this week. They talked primarily about workforce education. It was great. And some ideas from that. I'm continuing to plan with the emergency department, emergency management director regarding installation and placement of first aid kits in all town buildings, along with installation and placement of Narcan in all town buildings, and of course, training that goes along with all of that for the employees. Attended the Stoneham Library Narcan presentation, which was done by the Stoneham Public Health Department. It was presented and advertised for all three towns, so Stoneham, Melrose, and Wakefield, and participants from all three, two towns in the one city attended. I worked very hard with Cindy Luongo to apply for the town of Wakefield CMS, the Medicare revalidation contract, to assure that we can remain qualified to bill and receive payments for our Medicare reimbursement of the flu vaccination administration that we do in the fall. The process is required every 5 years. I also did a separate application so that I can be applied to the account and become a user in that account as well, so I can help Cindy. Both very lengthy processes, not fun. So that's the basics of what happened over the last month.
And just to let you know, with our coalition in Stoneham, our public health nurse, Mayor Heidi, did a poster presentation at our conference on Narcan. She did a beautiful, beautiful poster with a great presentation. It was very well received.
Yes.
And Heidi has just graduated with her DNP.
Yeah, awesome. Yeah, she's phenomenal. Very nice girl. She really is. And we also, at the conference, we gave out in our, I say the goodie bags for the conference, everyone received a little kit. Looks like a little makeup bag, and inside is a Narcan with the instructions and gloves, and I think the CPR mask even got in there, so we can increase and get Narcan out there more on the street. So it was very good because it went right in with her poster and with what Sandy's been working on.
We've also applied, we're also in the process of applying through the Bureau of Addiction Services for yet another source of free Narcan, as well as the Attorney General's office, and that's in the process.
Do folks know we have it available? Is that like out there in the community?
Yes.
Do folks know if they would like to come into the department, they could get it?
Yeah. Catherine Dinger did a lot of work on that with Chamber of Commerce, with everyone. So we're going to continue that effort. I think there is a public presentation on community services that's going to be held next week at the library in the evening, and that will include information about drug overdose and Narcan and some training that goes along with it.
And we did have a message from our former board member, Laura Gorville, who said that she wished she could be here tonight in person to welcome you and say congratulations, but unfortunately she couldn't. And to say she already missed us. She missed us dearly, so, and we did miss her. We told her we did miss her, but we said we were having our new member, so we were very, very excited tonight to have this meeting. We were very glad, Marcy, that you have decided to come on board. So took a very brave step forward. Is there anything else that has arisen?
Festival of Bridal Lake, just June 8th, if anyone's around, I can send an email, just probably, we got 3 tables.
Yeah. What are we doing? What's the plan?
We'll have a Board of Health table, a nurse's table, we'll have just our regular general table, and maybe Jason will have a table with like wake up
It might, I think the youth
kids,
are part of the wake up, I
the
think
youth
they're
are-
gonna be doing like
yeah,
tattoo.
maybe.
so they might be
It was
doing-
last year, that was
Yeah.
cute.
My kids got 10.
Yeah.
Was cute.
I'll put it on Mark.
So Saturday, June 8th, and then rain date is the 9th, so couple hours here, there, wherever, we can all work it out.
Would you send an email
I will.
out about that? Thank you. All right, our next meeting would be Wednesday, June 19th, am I not correct? That's the third Wednesday of the month, right? Yeah, that's Juneteenth. Oh, is there any,
Oh, actually, that would be, that's be a federal holiday, or a state holiday for us.
it's a state hall, yeah, that's right. Oh, I think it's a federal now, isn't
It
it?
might be a federal holiday now,
Yeah,
so,
that's right.
so
Juneteenth and
it would
19th.
be,
26?
we could do either the 12th or 26th, yes, or yeah, 26th.
I'd vote 26.
Okay.
If I could.
With the 26th of June, Marcy, do you have a preference? June 14th is Relay, Cancer Relays, 25 years here in Wakefield.
That's
We're
awesome.
very, very proud of this year. Very proud for 25 years to
Friday?
keep going, huh? Friday, June 14th to the 15th, yeah.
You're saying the preference, you have the preference.
My choice would be the 26th.
26, is that okay with you?
I have an appointment that I can move, so I can do that.
Are you sure it would be at 6:30?
Yeah, that should
You
work
sure
out.
that's okay?
Yeah.
That'll work out?
Thank you.
Enough notice to do that, yeah.
Okay, so we will do June 26th at 6:30, and I believe we'll be here again in person and on Zoom at the public safety, and if anything else arises beforehand, Anthony will let us know. Just a regular agenda. And I just need a motion to adjourn.
I would make a motion to adjourn.
All in favor?
And Hannah?
Macaulay?
And Silver, we're adjourned. Thank you all.
Thank you.